Thank you, Alokji, and all the esteemed panel of the Northern India Regional Council of CA Institute. It gives me a great privilege and honor to be part of your gathering, which I have found to be very interesting. You are trying to educate, and I have been in the space of education, and I've realized that continuous education is the key to success, be it in any form, be it stock market, be it your life, or be it even any kind of knowledge you or skills you want to develop. So that is the thread which I run, which runs through me, and that's how I've been continuously focusing on enhancing my knowledge and skill sets. And when I connected with Alokji, he said that today we could have an opportunity to share whatever I know, and I am here right in front of you, sharing some ways in understanding the reason or why technical analysis could be an other medium which all of you can use. Yes, all of you are very good with fundamentals, but I am going to be focusing today on how you can go about it in a more structured way. What we have done at Growth Avenues, my founder, Dr. CK Narayan, how he has gone about this whole space, and how this whole space of technical analysis is important, and how it connects with fundamental analysis. Those are going to be the key takeaways which you are going to have at the end of this session. And I'm sure that it'll be, I cannot cover the whole gamut, but then I will ensure that I leave you with some definitive takeaways which you can ponder upon. And I'm sure that all of you are CAs and you know how to dig in deep and find out the details. I'm sure you will do that. But that's what is the whole agenda for today. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen right now. Hold on a moment. So we are going to be looking at scientific way to analyze data of stock market, right? That's the agenda for today. And when you talk about the whole concept, right? So fundamental analysis, I'm sure that most of you are familiar with. You know that how to dig into the balance sheets, find out the nitty-gritties. But then TA is known to some people in a limited way. Yes, it's accessible. You have done some courses here and there, but then there is no structured learning as such. So when you talk about the whole understanding, okay, when you talk about the whole understanding of relating to the market data and reading the stock market data, so there are some conventional approaches. And what are those conventional approaches? It is using technical analysis, using fundamental analysis, and also finding out what the company is doing and how we can benefit by participating in the company. And the conventional approaches also had something called as time series forecasting. So time series forecasting is nothing but trend analysis when you apply to the way you are going about your trading, and how a security has performed over time. So when you try to relate to how a security is performed over time, you get an understanding of how it will perform over the future. And that's what trend time series forecasting helps you with. And by reading the historical values, you get a fair amount of idea about what exactly the stock can do. And that's the conventional approaches. Of course, there are many ways to look at it, and that's those are the new age approaches which I will come to at a later part in time. But then these are some approaches which are there in the market, and which all of you are familiar with. And that's how the whole journey of stock market trading, stock market investing has been going about. But there is a shift which is undergoing, about which I will speak about it in my later presentation, right? So when I talk about the ways in which you are going to go about, so there are certain factors for stock selection. It could be the cash flow, it could be the ROE, it could be your EPS. All these are factors which are familiar to you, which you have been tracking it all the time. Management, corporate governance. Yes, corporate governance has become a very big issue, which all the CAs are very well familiar with. And the way you go about and understand what could be a reason, okay, what could be a reason for selecting this stock, right? But then you got to understand that with all forecasting methods, you have to also factor in certain elements. But when you go and take a look at these particular factors, okay, when you go and take a look at these particular factors and find out what is a kind of move which can happen. So I have certain examples which I would like to share with you, because fundamental analysis prompts us to believe that the market moves are linear with the fundamental variables, right? Because you believe that if these fundamental variables are intact, then the company is expected to move along a linear path. So for example, if you take a stock like this, Atul Limited, you can see here that this stock has been moving in a spectacular fashion. You can see here that since 2017 to 2020, the stock has moved from 2000 rupees to 9000 rupees. In a space of 5 years, it has moved by 5000 rupees. There is a steady P expansion. The profits have been moving up steadily. The ROE is expanding. So generally you believe that earnings expansion and P expansion typically in these markets are two things which you actually correlate, and then after a point you are continuously focusing on the P expansion. This is a specialty chemical stock based out of Gujarat, and it has been now globally known also. And you can see here that this particular stock has done relatively well, and it has shown a very strong move over the last 5 years. Take another example. This is a household name, Asian Paints, right? Improving fundamentals, and you can see here how the stock, after a brief you can see here after a brief hold here, continuous improvement in ROE. You can see here that the P is expanding steadily. So what does it say? That this stock is being continuously bought into, be it at any level. This stock has been continuously bought into. Nobody is interested to actually go forward and sell it. So you can see here that brilliant move, steadily improving EPS, steadily improving net profit. The P is also expanding. So everything is going great, right? And generally people are looking at all these things and continuing to believe that, wow, these numbers are fantastic, and these are the numbers which I'm tracking, and I should use these numbers to initiate my position. So we have got two stocks here which have done brilliantly well. So now I may ask you that if these numbers are giving us a good clue into a good stock, so if the reverse of this, would it mean that the price would go down? Yeah, would it mean that the price would go down? So for example, take a stock like this. This is the stock of Bharti. Bharti, you can see here that the EPS has deteriorated. The net profit is there for you to see. So here nothing much is happening, and the price continues to churn. The price continues to churn, and the price continues to churn around the same levels. So what exactly are we looking at? We are looking at a scenario where the price is trying to make its way upwards, but its fundamentals are not supporting it. So what I'm saying here is that the movement of the price and fundamental is not linear. There is no linear movement of price and fundamentals. So people who have been only in the area of fundamentals should realize that fundamental and price move are not linear. So here is a case where the fundamentals are not great, and the price too has been somewhat circulating or oscillating at the same place. Now let's look at another stock out here. This is a favorite stock which all of us have been discussing. Talk of the generation, right? Talk of the generation, talk of the town, and that stock is ITC, right? ITC, perfect. Nothing can go wrong. Everything is working in its favor. A steady ROE, the P ratio, can't ask for something better. EPS, not too bad, holding. But then where are we in terms of the investment? In terms of the price has actually gone down. So here it's a reverse case where the fundamentals are intact, everything is moving in order, and the price is not able to sustain. When I started my trading journey, investing journey, and there used to be a talk of ITC. Okay, ITC लेना है, जरूर लेना है. ITC में तो लॉन्ग टर्म बेट, राइट, लॉन्ग टर्म बेट करके मैंने भी काफी इकट्ठा किया ITC. बाद में जैसे जैसे मेरी जानकारी बढ़ने लगी, okay, I realized that this stock, everything is going for it, everything, it's a well diversified unit, but then there are certain intrinsic problems with ITC, right? There are certain intrinsic problems with ITC, and that started preventing it from actually going up. One of the key reasons being its 84% of its share comes from the tobacco, and tobacco being a sin product and actually coming under the ESG norms, it's having a lot of challenges in coming up, and a lot of institutions staying away from investing into ITC. You can see here, there is not enough patronage for ITC. And that's when I decided that this is not the stock which I should be holding on. I will come to the point where I'll tell you how you also can correlate these movements. But then I'm telling you that, so you can see here that strong fundamentals does not necessarily mean strong price growth. So when you want to combine both, you have to see how to do it. And I'll be showing you a very simple and easy to use approach in some few moments from now. So when you take a look at this whole flow, when you take a look at understand that, you will know that the response of the market to the fundamental number is not always uniform. The response to है market का to these fundamental numbers is not uniform. So as a result, you have to understand that despite the best qualitative aspects which a stock will have, you still have to consider whether there is some movement happening out there. So what one thinks logically does not happen in the market, right? So market is not in a linear phase. Despite the best news and patronage, the market may not, or the prices may not move in line with the sentiment. So you got to value the whole flow. So if you take a stock like Atul, it's relatively unknown, right? It's one of the major pigment producers in the world from a large industrial house, but it's relatively unknown. Asian Paint is known worldwide. ITC has forayed into different segments and trying to reduce its sin component. Then you have got Bharti, who has been around for so many years. But then all of these, okay, I'm not showing you the data of the last year. I'm showing you the data spread over 5 years. And you can see that how their data set has moved, the fundamental data set has moved. So in short, if I were to convey about the factors which I have selected and the factors which are correlating with the price movement, I could say that whenever you're going to look into the whole segment, you have to understand that apart from these fundamental factors, there is some other factor which is helping. Okay, there is some other factor which is helping this price movement. Okay, because it's not only these fundamental factors, there is some other factor which is helping the price movement, and when you combine both, you will be able to get a good measure of how the price can move and to what extent it could move. And when you talk about that, okay, when you talk about those particular elements, then when you're going to focus on the concept of price, so therein comes the technical analysis part. Okay, when the technical analysis part steps in, what happens is, in the concept of technical analysis, price discounts everything, in the sense that whatever action is being inhibited is reflected in the price. So if you have an idea about the price, if you know how the price is moving, you will be able to get a good sense of what is happening on the ground level. Then eventually you got to understand that price is a perception of value. So if you believe that there is a value in that particular stock, you will continue to buy it. Like example, like Asian Paint, right? People believe, there is a mindset which believes that Asian Paints is a stock which they should own. So they are continuing to buy Asian Paint even at these levels. While the reverse is with ITC, where people were believing, but now they are not. And that's why you see that not many people, everyone is just waiting with their existing position. But then what is happening to the current lot? They are now starting to think, well, my decision to get into ITC was probably wrong. So eventually, when you talk about technical analysis as a concept, what it does is it takes care of the emotions. So I would always say that the prices which you see on the charts, they reflect the emotions. And when the emotions, okay, in turn, they capture the sentiment. And the sentiment eventually influences the price, right? When the sentiment influences the price, that's when you are able to see a steady upward move or a downward move. Now, in short, technical analysis helps you to predict the future price movement. And what happens when you are able to do that? You are able to execute with confidence, right? We all want to go inside the market, go in, take a trade and execute our trades with confidence. But then कई बार confidence नहीं मिल पाता है, and we are always find ourselves wondering what we need to do, how we need to plan, etc. So that's why it is very important to get a whole concept of this understanding. So price as a concept, price as a concept, there are many concepts to read the price movement, but then a very simple concept like higher top, higher bottom was a concept derived by Charles Dow in 1897, right? In 1897, he derived a concept called as Dow theory. And that Dow theory stands the test of time. 100 years from now, 100 years from now, you could use that concept across any asset class, and you will find that if you want to understand what is happening of that particular security, you will be able to get a measure. So in short, this particular concept is a very simple way to understand. And when you go and dig deeper into technical analysis, eventually everything is about trends. So you got to understand the trends, you got to understand how a trend functions, what is a trend, because eventually you are trying to find out a trend and you are trying to participate in a trend, be it numbers, be it your price action, it can be anything. Eventually you want a trended action so that you can benefit. You are not buying a stock for holding on to it forever. You want that your investment to grow. Your investment can only grow when there is a trend. And to identify a trend, this higher top, higher bottom is one of the most easiest way to find out whether this particular aspect of the movement is being captured and whether there is enough evidence of it being visible on the prices. So now, if you take higher top, higher bottom, is one of a very simple concept, and there are many approaches. But then what I would do is I would take you through certain examples using this very same concept. So what I'll do is I will just go back once again. Okay, I'll just go back once again and reflect on the charts which I had shown you. All right, we spoke of Atul, and you can see here the steady higher top, higher bottom. You can see here how the higher top, higher bottom has been resolute. It has been resolute and it has been going up steadily. And then there is no sign of giving up. So prices are going up, they are pulling back, and then they're going up once again. So the way the whole thing is functioning right now, okay, the way the whole thing is functioning right now, you can see here that there is a steady move to the upside. So what does it indicate? It indicates that the prices are in a trend and they are continuing to move up. So all is good with this particular stock. Now, stock of Asian Paint, right? Moving from 800 to 3000. You can see here that how this stock has performed. A fantastic move, right? You can see here a steady upward move. And Asian Paints has been a phenomenal stock. It has been owned by many people. and many people want to buy Asian Paints. So few years ago, we had a client, okay, who had purchased Asian Paints in the region of around 600, 700, and then he had moved to London, and then I happened to meet him in 2020, and then I just wanted to ask him, because he had purchased Asian Paints at 600, saying that I'm just investing into the stock because I don't know anything else, and I believe that this stock should do well because everyone is buying it, and that is why I am going and buying the stock. And now, when I met him last year, he's still holding the stock. So what does it mean? He's saying that he wants to make it his family heirloom, and he wants to keep it, and he wants to keep it forever. So when strong fundamentals are supported by strong price action, you can see that there is a continuous move, and this is the kind of movement which I'm seeing in certain stocks. But then when you are going and looking in at a stock, and when you're going and looking at the price action, you got to check out whether this kind of higher top, higher bottom is being formed. So that's when you will also be able to hold on to a stock and you don't have to worry. It's a very simple part of the trended action, but then it works very well. But then there also comes a time when you got to realize how to avoid such stocks. Now, in the case of Bharti Airtel West, the price has gone up, right? From 2019, the price has gone up from 220 to 620. But then what has really happened? The higher top, higher bottom has not been very resolute. It has been in fits and jerks, and it has not given much confidence. So you can see here that the process may be the same, but then the way it is being showcased is not in the same manner. So what is really happening here is that you may hold it for 10 years, but then if there are no positive news and events which are happening, okay, so news and events along with price action, if you combine them, right, if you combine news and events with price action, you will be able to get a very good sense of the price movement. And now you can see here, yes, there are positive news coming in. Bharti is investing into satellite companies. Bharti is also doing well in terms of its performance. Even in the last numbers, it has done well. And now with Vodafone and Idea not able to keep up, so it will be a duopoly where it's either Jio or Bharti. But then these news flows are not enough. So what you got to do is you got to combine the news flow, and you got to ensure that after combining the news flow with the price action, you will be able to get a very good measure. So in such stocks, okay, in a range bound stocks, many people want to know how to actually go forward. And like Alokji mentioned, options is a very good area to make money. But then that everyone feels कि हाँ shorting करना है option में. But then stock कैसे select करें, right? You have to know which kind of stocks to select. So you should select stocks which are like these, and you will be able to know that yes, this is stock which is having some it is not having the potential to go up, and at every instance it's actually coming down. So when I'm talking about coming down, let's take a look at this. In this case, it's actually making a lower top, lower bottom. It's actually going reverse. But what are the fundamentals saying? The fundamentals are saying, wow, this is a stock which you should have in your portfolio. I'm sure that many of you out there have been buying ITC on dips. Buy on dips तो एक अच्छी कहावत है, but लेकिन आपको समझना है कि when to buy on dips and when not to buy on dips. And this is where the higher top, higher bottom and lower top, lower bottom concept will be very beneficial. Because अगर आप देखेंगे यहाँ पे ITC has not been actually following the news and events, right? So you have to see where the trends are following the news and events, where the trends are not following the news and events. And based on that, you have to marshal your resources, because otherwise you will always tend to invest into the wrong stock. और उसके बाद अक्सर क्या हो जाता है, you are stuck in your position, you're not able to come out, and then you find that maybe I should have looked at some other stock, right? This is what happens with most of us. Like I told you, in my case, I had invested into ITC, but then I realized it quickly when I started combining these elements. And that is the benefit what technical analysis has given me. And it has helped me to leverage the understanding and move ahead, right? Now, I have shown you 4 stocks, correct? I've shown you 4 stocks where you had some idea where 2 stocks, one not so well known, one very well known. And then I also showed you 2 stocks that have been doing well, but 2 stocks which have not done so well. But then they were also equally famous. So being famous, having numbers is not enough. You have to combine it with some bit of trend analysis, which will help you to go ahead. And this is the scientific area which we have been speaking about, under putting some trend to the data, right? So that is what this technical analysis is all about. Technical analysis is about putting some trend to the data so that you are able to assimilate what is happening at the ground level, so that you can connect with what the market is trying to tell you. Many times I have found that people are unable to connect with the market, and this disconnection, right? So we have Bharti here, so you will know that call drop होता है तो क्या हो जाता है, ऐसे काफी सारे call drop होते हैं, काफी सारे stock drop होते हैं, and people are not able to maintain that ratio or that connect with the market. Now we spoke about some stocks which are famous, but then these are news and stocks which are having coverage, right? News and stocks जहाँ पर काफी सारे coverage होते हैं और आप उनके reports देखते हैं, and then many brokerages also track such stocks. Like for example, ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank is covered by not less than 47 brokerage houses, out of which 47 brokerage houses may say 45 are giving it a buy. There is Infosys, which is tracked by 45 brokerage houses, out of which 39 are giving it a buy. So when large cap stocks are actively tracked, so there is information available, right? There is information available. But what would you do if there is no information available, right? CA or any profession needs information, right? If you want to do your activity, you need information. But when there is lack of information, how would you go out there? So we are talking about serious activity of going out there and making some money. But then when you are going to go out there and make some money, I spoke about some stocks where there were information. So what about when there is no information? For example, a stock like this, Aegis Logistics. You can see here 2018 to 2020, it had a good move till 2018, but it fell down sharply where it got overlooked, right? So you can see here this move happened and then it got completely ignored. Then it turned around from 2020, but it didn't came to anyone's attention, right? From 100 to 400. A very superb move. What about this? Advanced Enzyme. It was highly talked about. What enzyme was the next best sector to get into. And then after its debut in 2017, you can see here a very sharp decline, but people still kept talking about it. But then it was only a handful, right? It was only a handful, correct? And at these lower levels in the month of March, when the move happened, you can see here right from 80, it has gone up to 400. So in a nutshell, there were news available, but to a very small extent. And how will you track such stocks? See, this is another example. Birlasoft. Again, the same period, decline in 2018. Then the news flow happened where it got merged with KPIT. Then it got listed as 2 separate entities. And then its fortune changed. But then, have you been tracking such information? Have you been tracking these stocks? These are some stocks, but there are dozens of stocks. There are more than 3,000 active stocks. हमारी नजर सिर्फ उस F&O basket पर रहती है. But then there is NSE 500 after that. Then there is all the entire 3,000 stock universe. And there are so many news which are running through the market. some of you are familiar with, some of you are not familiar with. And when you are talking about the news flow, you got to understand that every news flow will not work, right? Every news flow, you can't just, I have shown you how just based on news, if you buy, you may end up getting stuck. Now, when I have shown you a way where you just take the news flow, you add the simple concept of higher top, higher bottom, and then you will see that, yes, is it going to work? Is it not going to? If you just apply the simple higher top, higher bottom here, you can see here how it has gone up steadily. A steady move from around 40 levels to 400 levels. You can see here the sharp move. You might have bought it somewhere along the way if you had tracked them. So that's how you got to move about in the market. And in short, when you look at a price and find it rising steadily, it means that there is some positive news. कुछ तो है that is making the price go up. There is something which is happening, and that's how the whole movement is emerging. And when such movement emerges, you got to get connected with that. And that's where applying technical analysis with the relevant news flow. Some news flow you may be privy to, some you may not be. But then you got to understand these are some stocks with limited coverage, but then it has shown great moves. And then there are, like I said, there are lots and lots of stocks out there. So this concept of technical analysis, this whole technical analysis per se, has undergone lots of changes. Yeah, it has undergone lots of changes. अगर आप fundamental analysis के बारे में बात करेंगे, yes, there are certain models which are in place, but क्या हो गया कि it has got stuck. It's got stuck in a time warp. So Rip Van Winkle जैसा, if you know that story. So fundamental analysis is still doing the same thing, but technical analysis has gone leaps ahead because it has been more dynamic, and technical analysis, because of its flexibility, fungibility, आप कह लीजिए, it has managed to evolve. So I'll just take you through a quick journey of how a technical analysis concept has changed and how it is making a very big difference. So अगर technical analysis की evolution के बारे में बात करेंगे, तो पहले आया ट्रेडिशनल टेक्निकल एनालिसिस, वेयर प्राइस एक्शन यूज करके हमने समझने की कोशिश की कि हो रहा क्या है प्राइस मूवमेंट में और न्यूज के साथ कैसे कंबाइन करेंगे. सम पीपल वेर अवेयर, सम पीपल वेर डूइंग दैट, बट देन मेनी पीपल वेर नॉट अवेयर अबाउट इट. नाउ then came technical analysis with mechanical indicators. That is when we got to know in 1978 by J. Wells Wilder. He showed how you can mechanize the indicators and make it more powerful. And then came the machine learning. Okay, the machine learning was a scenario where some bit of programming the technical analysis rule set so that you can work faster, you can execute faster. Then came the era of charting. क्योंकि पहले I used to sit with my uncle and I actually with Dr. CK Narayan I used to draw the hand-drawn charts. Hand-drawn charts करते थे, intraday charts जब intraday data आने लगा तो intraday charts भी करते थे, daily charts plot करते थे, paper में रखते थे, and then it was a very cumbersome thing. But then when the real-time charts came into being, it was a real revolution. क्योंकि people started enjoying charting, people's accessibility बढ़ गया. And the way you could see the charts, the way you could interpret the charts, and for people who are very sharp, who are very smart like you guys, you will be able to connect much better because you know exactly what the data is trying to say. And visual interpretation of the price action, visual interpretation of the news flow, all that added to your analytical capability. And that's why charting became a very good phenomenon. And many people started coming out with charts. With charts आने लगे, charts के बाद आया how to develop strategies and algos, right? So all these stepwise sources from top to bottom has been the evolution of technical analysis. I have gone at it a little bit faster, but then this is how you got to understand that technical analysis has been evolving, adapting. जैसे कि हम हमारे लाइफ में हमारे जो सिचुएशन है, हमारे जो वातावरण है, हम उसमें कोशिश करते हैं कि हाउ वी एडजस्ट, राइट? So technical analysis has been adjusting to the market movement. It has been adapting itself. And that's why technical analysis has been able to move ahead with times. Fundamental analysis has moved, but not much. So as a result, the concepts remains the same. The impact of it sometimes is not as appealing. And why am I saying that? Because when you go and take a look at the whole scenario here, which I'm mentioning, it has been very challenging. So when I talk about the impact of technology, okay, technology has been a very, very big force. And when technology came into being, okay, when technology came into being, and technology started taking over the financial market scenario, because technology has taken over the financial market scenario. आप देख रहे हैं कि किस तरह से technology is intruding in every space. So क्या हो गया, पहले के समय में the information was known to very less people. I showed you some charts where information was publicly known, but I also showed you some charts where information was not that publicly known. So that there was an information asymmetry. There was a difference. Few people having very crucial information. But then when technology came, that information asymmetry got eliminated. And because of technology, there was a reason or a emergence of a value-added segment. Because brokerage houses started giving certain additional services which is available to you right now on your trading platform. And because of that, they were able to improve the value addition to the end customer. The end customer, the client, they were able to enjoy the benefits because technology was made available to them. And because mobile was a very, very big scenario when Jio came into being, Jio had a very, very strong internet penetration that fueled the rise of mobile trading. And when online mobile trading happened, and when online mobile trading started in a very, very big way, it facilitated trading a very, very great deal. Because brokerage houses or brokers did not have to have so many offices. They could enhance their trading. Their clients could trade faster. And then their dependence on manual way of working reduced. And that's what brought a very, very big shift. So when more people started trading, the cycles began to contract. The cycle tha, कोई एक move का, it began to contract. And when cycles got shorter, the correlation got destroyed. Okay. And because the correlation got destroyed, the old paradigms, the old riti rivaj jo thi of market movement, they have slowly started eroding. And understanding all this and converting them using fundamental analysis has become the very restrictive. And hence, more and more people are preferring technical analysis, right? That's why more and more people are preferring technical analysis. So now when you talk about technical analysis and technology, एक तरफ technical analysis, एक तरफ technology. जब हम उसको combine कर देंगे, so there is a brand new area which is developing. Okay, it's a brand new area, and that area is called as artificial neural network. Okay, it's called as artificial neural network, which combines the variables of fundamentals and fundamental ke bina technical cannot move. So I am not ignoring the fundamental, but then when you combine both, you get a very, very strong, powerful message, and that is the message which you should be reading. So combining both these variables, you are able to find out the market indicators, and using that, you are able to predict the future price action. So the whole concept of neural networks which are coming up, it is able to say what kind of patterns can be at work, how you can make money, how you can predict the outcome. And essentially, okay, essentially we are able to correlate with the market concept, right? We are able to correlate with the market concept. And because of this, understanding the price action and saying that what kind of activity is happening in the mind is able to, you are able to connect with that particular element, right? So artificial neural networks is something very, very interesting. And Growth Avenues has been doing a lot of work on the artificial neural network. And we have come about using this very same concept, right? How to read the technical analysis pattern, how to understand the technical analysis pattern, and how to help the financial market world to get ahead and stay with the machine, right? Man versus machine. सब लोग ने टर्मिनेटर 2 तो देखा होगा, जजमेंट डे. सो अब वही सिनेरियो चल रहा है जजमेंट डे का, and we have to find out how do we do that. And that's where Dr. Narayan, our founder, who has spent more than 45 years in the market, he has devised this beautiful product, beautiful revolution, and it is called as NeoTrader. It is only aim, okay, the aim of NeoTrader is to help you reduce the noise. इतना सारा आवाज है, इतने सारे न्यूज चैनल है, इन सब के बीच आपको जाना है और आपको पता करना है कि अब मैं क्या करूं, राइट? दिस इज व्हाट इज ऑलवेज योर क्वेश्चन, अब मैं क्या करूं, अब मुझे क्या करना है. यू कैन बी डे ट्रेडर, मल्टी डे ट्रेडर, यू कैन बी एनी फॉर्म ऑफ ट्रेडर, इन्वेस्टर, बट आप सबको एक अंदाजा लगाने के लिए कि क्या हो सकता है मार्केट में, आपको एक आइडिया देने के लिए कि व्हाट कुड आई डू नाउ, हाउ शुड आई अप्रोच, एंड ऑल दीज थिंग्स are the ability of NeoTrader. It is a market decision making utility which has been designed by our founder Dr. CK Narayan, and I'm proud to showcase it to you. If you ever get a chance, you could go out there, and this is our links. You can take a look here, and you can get to know more about our